Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Karina Spilka, and I am one of the partners at K-Fund and also the president of Adigital. It's my pleasure to be here today with all of you. It's amazing that finally we can have this reunion all in person, and thank you, Maria Benjumea, for all your energy and for organizing once again this fantastic summit. Today we are presenting the first study ever that DealRoom has dedicated to the Spanish landscape. The title of this study is The Spanish Tech Ecosystem. And I have here with me the head of three institutions that were the ones that sponsored this amazing report that we are going to share today. The report tried to delve and go in depth into the status, the momentum that the ecosystem is living here in Spain, but also has made a bit of the history of all the companies that were born and scaling, but also all the effort that the investment side did in the ecosystem. So let me introduce to Francisco Polo. Everybody knows him. He's the High Commissioner for Spain Entrepreneur Nation.
Correct.
Correct. In English, I'm used to say it in Spanish all the way.
That was perfect.
Fantastic. Then we also have Aquilino Peña, a friend of us. He's the president of ASCRI, but mainly he is one of the founders of Kibo, and Kibo is one of the oldest funds here in Spain that has done many, many things for the ecosystem. And finally, we have with us Antonio Iglesias, who is the managing director at Endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Endeavor, Spain.
That's right.
Fantastic. So thank you for being here with us. And I think that the results of the study are really encouraging for the ecosystem and for all of us that have been working for a long time. So let's start with Francisco, okay? What are the main conclusions and the relevance of the study that you have conducted?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Karina. First of all, I want to say how excited we are from the High Commissioner for Spain Entrepreneurial Nation to be here. This is great news that we have this report. This is the first time that we put together the public and the private to work together to release this report. And it's also the first time that we do it with a partner like DealRoom that is going to take us from being a country that has been so many years under the radar to be very well known internationally for a place that has great potential for startups and great potential for investment. From our side, we also want to thank you. We also want to thank ASCRI, Kibo Ventures, Endeavor, and ENISA for working together in order to release this report. And as you know, this report is showing the situation, as you said, of local and international investment in Spain, and it's profiling the future of unicorns in Spain. So it's a report that not only talks about the quantitative, but also talks about the qualitative. So a lot of entrepreneurs and investors were needed in order to fully complete this report, and I wanted to personally thank them for all the work over these months. From our point of view, there is a main conclusion that is excellent news for our country, and that is that Spain is ready to become the next great entrepreneurial nation in Europe. And there are three facts that I want to use today to remind us why this is real. First is that the investment in startups in Spain has increased by 5x since 2015. That means that the sector is advancing relentlessly. That is more than evident. Second is that outlying the mega rounds that we had in Spain this year, venture capital investment in Spanish startup grew faster in Spain than in any other country, together with the Netherlands, in the first half of 2021. And third is that Spain is clearly a country with a very strong pipeline of unicorns. For us, from the government perspective, that means that we have great space for growth, and particularly for creation of better jobs for everyone. That is tremendously important for us. As you know, and this is also something that you heard me say a lot, this advancement over the years has been thanks to the private sector and the public sectors, because things have changed in the recent years. In 2020, the president of government decided to create the High Commissioner for Spain Entrepreneurial Nation. That means the first body ever in the presidency of the government that is laser focused on trying to help Spain become an entrepreneurial nation. Second, in February this year, 2021, we released the Spain Entrepreneurial Nation Strategy. That is a plan that has a vision of over 10 years with more than 50 measures of what needs to be done in order to make that a reality. And third, we have the recovery funds. You know that it's 140 billion, but for entrepreneurship in Spain, we allocated specifically 4.2 billion euros. That means that we have the strength to make that possible. So that also talks about the great opportunity that we have ahead of us. We need to close the gap between the private sector and the public sector to make the best of the opportunity that we have ahead of us. In order to finish, I want to remind us that thanks to this new approach, we are already achieving great results. Very recently, there was published this report that is the Digital Riser report. We went, we scaled, we went up 7 positions in that report. It's a report that includes more than 140 countries for its digital productivity. And we went and we got directly into the top 3. And in that report, they say that it was because of the Spain entrepreneurial strategy. So that was a big step forward for Spain. So in short, this report shows that innovative entrepreneurship ecosystem in Spain is getting stronger, and we are becoming stronger because we are working together, the public and the private sector, because together we are removing barriers, we are creating better legal frameworks, and we are making together the investments that even the riskiest venture capitalists could not make, because we are working together on making things that a few years ago seemed absolutely impossible. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Francisco. That's really interesting. Well, first of all, let's say hello to José Bayón, Chief Executive at ENISA. The traffic in Madrid is being very intensive, particularly today, so thank you so much.
Sorry for the delay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Just one question, because we're talking about the report. The report is being published today. Do you have the email, the web address or anything so the people can look at it today, or when are we going to release finally it?
I think we are releasing it right now, and everyone that is following our accounts is going to be able to get
follow
it and read it.
Fantastic, because I really encourage you. The report is extremely interesting, and there are lots of interesting information about, well, many things, particularly about the future. That is what you said. So let's move to Aquilino right now. The report states that we are breaking all the records in investments in startups here in Spain. So do you think that this trend will keep increasing in the future? And what can we make to make this ecosystem more competitive?
Well, hello everyone, and first and foremost, thank you to Maria and the team for being here. I think it's, after 2 years, this feels like really good and feels like coming back home. So thanks to all of you for making this happen. And concerning the report, I would say that the report's title should be ready to launch. No? And going back to your question, I think, and Paco also mentioned that, is that I think in Spain has all the ingredients now to really grow and scale companies, investments, and returns. The report shows that despite the well-known unicorns or big companies that we have here, we are the 5th country in Europe in numbers of unicorns, companies that are going to become unicorns. And that's the result of a very experienced entrepreneurial base. So our entrepreneurs have been doing this for many years. Sometimes we are facing and looking at entrepreneurs that are on their second or even in their third entrepreneurial venture, and they know how to do it. So talent is there. It also shows how the Spanish talent is being acquired by major tech companies, and when they acquire the companies, they just don't take the IP and run away with it, but totally on the other side, they build centers, research centers, they grow the teams. I mean, we have several examples like Billings, acquired by a fruit company that starting with 50 people, now they plan to have hundreds of engineers in machine learning and AI in Barcelona. Rose from Germany acquired Problem Pharma and went from 50 to 200, or Daxport from 9 to 150 with New Relic. No? So I think that also, the report also shows how the talent is here, the technical talent is here. On top of talent, we need capital, and the report also shows that not only entrepreneurs have learned, also the investors, we've learned how to do things. We have been increasing our fund sizes, although, and I don't know if you want to discuss that later or not, although we are still tiny as compared to our peers in other European countries, but we have dry powder and the willingness to invest in our entrepreneurs, so you have talent and capital. And the other things that we need and are starting to make click now for this big launch is, and the Commissioner also mentioned that, is the good collaboration between the private sector and the public sector, and also the corporates that are around the ecosystem. No? They were far away before, and now I think they are coming closer to us. They are investing, and they still need to be more acquisitive and buy companies from us, but they are starting to come closer. No? So I think we have all the elements to make it a big launch. No? So it's going to happen and happen more often.
Yeah, and it's particularly interesting considering that the investment per capita in Spain compared to other European countries is in the lowest. So the effort from the investment side and the public sector is paying off.
Yeah, and that's an important point, because we are very happy when we look at the figures that we grow, and it's all growth figures. The thing is that all the countries surrounding us are also growing, so we really need to look at the gap, because we might be super happy because we grow, but you know what? You know, the French, the Germans, the British people are growing much more than us. No? So I think this is a competition among countries, among cities, and among investors. No? So.
Yeah.
And I think that's also very important to know, and for the public to know, and internationally to know, that we don't want just to improve our ratings in international rankings. We want to be one of the best, or the best country in continental Europe for starting up or for investing. So the effort that we are doing, the plan that we are putting together, the amounts of investment that we are putting on the table are directed to that. We have a high ambition for Spain.
And we will get there, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Antonio, from Endeavor perspective, one of the things that the report shows is the potential that we have to create unicorns here in Spain. We already have quite a lot compared to years ago. So from your perspective, what else can be done to really support the emergence of these type of companies, and also to boost the growth of our startups and scale-ups?
Thank you for the question, Karina, and thank you, South Summit, for coming back together and bringing back the ecosystem. So I'm not going to repeat what Paco and Aquilino have already said, because I'm fully aligned with that. I mean, at the end, we need to make sure that we have the capital, we have the talent, and we have the public-private sector collaboration, that's for sure. But I'm going to add an underlying factor, which is the importance that the leaders or the founders of these big companies have, right? I think we need to make an example of those guys, like the founders of, I'm just going to give one example that it's in the news right now. Everybody heard that yesterday Wallbox went public in the New York Exchange. What probably a lot of people don't know is that these guys, they fought to keep the company Spanish, right? And those are the stories that we need, because those entrepreneurs, at the end, are the ones that are driving capital from outside. Those stories, they're driving talent, right? They're As I think about talent, we talked about the importance of developing more talent internally. We talked about the importance of attracting international talent, but there's also something very, oh, can you hear me better like this, or?
Yes,
Hi.
Yeah, much better.
you have
I'll go
to
back-
use
I'll go like this.
this one.
Did you hear anything I said before, or should I start from the beginning? So what I was saying about the importance of those stories, they help bring in talent, but not only from the outside. Even one of the things that I have this conversation with a lot of people, right? What do we need from a talent perspective in Spain is that we need that more people believe that working in a startup or a scale-up is actually a good career path. Right? We need people that are coming from the corporate world and join the startup and scale up world, because it is a good option. And so stories like Wallbox or many of the other unicorns, we need to embrace them. They shouldn't be devils. They should be examples for our society. Right? I think that's one of the things that we need to push, to promote more as an ecosystem, right? Which I think will drive some of the other things that both Paco and Aquilino mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And Jose, we have mentioned the entrepreneurs and the investors as key players for this ecosystem, but also the public sector. So to what extent do you think that the role, or what do you think is the role of the public sector to really make the most of the ecosystem?
Yeah. Good morning again. Thank you very much, Al Summit, for the invitation, and congratulations to RAPAC again on all the ecosystems. Well, I think it's something that is clear in the report is that the public-private cooperation, public-private tandem is a key factor for the ecosystem to encourage all the startups, all the scale-ups. This is something that happens in all the countries who has a real strong entrepreneurship, and something that we have to remind always, and working together with the private and public sector. Innovation now is becoming more complicated. It has to be systematic, because we are at the end of the day in a revolution, in a digital and sustainable revolution. When a revolution happens, it's not the first. It has been before industrial, agricultural revolution, I usually have to say. When a revolution happens, innovation means adaptation, the ability of the adaptation. Because of this, we are talking about new concept, open innovation, big companies, small companies, and what is the role of the public sector inside of everything, as you have, Corina asked me. Public sector is, for sure, another player. This is first of all, and we have to recognize as another player, necessary player. Again, all the countries, it depends with different models, but all the countries who has a strong entrepreneurship ecosystem has public sector in the middle, pushing, encouraging everything. And it's the same China, Israel, the States, Europe, everywhere. We find both actors, both players, public and private sector. And the role has to be also entrepreneurial. Paco is here, and we are trying to push the public administration in this direction, because we have to be the pusher of everything at the end of the day. In ENISA, we find the startups, as you know, and scale-ups since 20 years, and we have more than 7,500, something like that. And we are also doing another question. We are also doing another politics, public politics, that are really important for this. Together with the High Commissioner, with Paco, we are working in the Spanish entrepreneurial brand, that is very important. And also together with the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Digitalization, we have received the confidence and the challenge, let's say challenge, not another word, to be the institution in the middle of the startups law, okay? The startups law, to certify the startups and the scale-ups. So a part of the financial boostment that is very strong in Europe right now, thanks to the governments and thanks to the Next Generation EU program. A part of this, a part of the money, there is life, a part of the money, behind of the money. There are also public politics that we have to push, and we have to be sample of this entrepreneurial nation, as Paco has explained before.
Well, I had many more questions, but unfortunately, they have given us 1 more minute. So maybe you want to have any closing remark, each of you, just a headline?
Well, for us, this report is a first step. It's the first time that we are putting Spain in the map this way. It shows that there's been a huge effort from the private sector. It shows how the public sector has become an entrepreneurial nation that is pushing this to make this happen. And the most important thing about this report is that it shows all what is ahead of us. We can become a country that has entrepreneurship, innovation, that has startups, that has investment funds, and that has talent at the foremost, at the top of its economy, because that's what we want to do. We don't want only to create a great ecosystem for startups, we want to transform the whole economy.
Yeah, like my tweet could be something like, we need bigger funds in Spain. The report shows that at seed stage, 50% of the money, of the capital is put by local funds and 50% for international funds. If you move up the stages and you go to later stages, 0% is put by local funds and 100% is put by international funds. So that, again, is another sign of the size, of the small size that funds have here. And as a result, I mean, we would encourage regulation to change mainly on the pension fund and so they can invest in our asset class the same way they do in other European countries. No, we have a regulation that makes it more difficult for pension fund to invest in our asset class. That's something that we will keep asking for as one very tactical thing that you can change with an ink pen.
We are working on that.
Yeah, no.
Well, we are just one sentence, please.
One sentence. I'm very optimistic about the ecosystem, so let's all be ambitious, entrepreneurs, investors, and lawmakers.
And also for me, it's the same. I'm also optimistic. We have a great challenge. We have a great opportunity, and I think we have also a great country and ecosystem, but we have to do it. But it's not easy.
Well, my sentence is thank you so much for your participation here. I think that we are living an exciting momentum, and it's our responsibility to keep it rolling. Thank you so much.
Thank you.